Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today for my community talk. We have Char today here, and I'm so pleased to have her because it is just amazing. We met on a delay flight in Amsterdam, and then we went to the same hotel. But before I talking more about that, you can introduce yourself, and I give the mic to you.
Oh, thank you. So my name's, I'll be known as Char today. I am from the West Midlands, particularly Birmingham in England, part of the UK. Yes, I had a very lovely meeting with yourself a couple of years ago now, I think. I'm a mum of 3 kids. I just am talking today about my experiences as a Black woman in the UK, if you're interested.
Yes, thank you very much for the introduction here. And yeah, it was so lovely to meet you in the hotel because what this thing also was, or where I had the best joyful feeling with you was that when I said that I'm non-binary, that you asked me directly for my pronouns, and this was like, oh my God, I see so visible from your side. And that's why I wanted to definitely to have you here on this podcast, because you're an ally and you also have a great perspective and a really nice mindset how you're reviewing these things. And that's why we're starting already with this first question. There will be, how is it growing up in the UK as a Black woman?
From my experience, I came from a married family, so my mum and dad were married, both Black. My mum is, her parents had come over to the UK before she did, so my mum came when she was about 14. My dad was born in the UK, so I lived in what would be considered quite a rough area, but I didn't feel it was rough because I feel things happen everywhere. And I think there's an experience in every part of your life. So as a child, I, had a loving family around me. So my experience was quite nurturing, amazing. Went to school, you have these, microaggressions, I went to quite a mixed school, many Asian and Black children, not many white children there, but there was still this level of, oh, my dad says I can't share sweets with Blacks, or I can't play with you, but just some little nuances. And when you're a child, you don't really recognize that as a microaggression or racism, but that's what's happening. And then you'll have the cultural side where my dad's motto was always, whatever you do, you've got to work 10 times harder than anybody else to get anywhere because you're a Black girl and you're Black. So that mindset goes into you. So you work and you work and you work. And like we just spoke about, no matter how much you work, there's just this glass ceiling. Yes. I have to do something called code and tone. So I'm actually a drummer. My accent should be like that, but you have to tone it into your workplace. You have to watch what you're saying. You have to not come across as aggressive, because the thing about you as a Black woman is that you're automatically aggressive.
This and angry Black woman tropes.
Yeah, very much so. And they're very much like that. If you're assertive, no, you're Black, you're aggressive. And then it's in school trying to navigate that culture of what you grow up in your family versus the culture that you're seeing around you. So preferring fish and chips to Saturday soup, or liking white guys on the telly and not liking some. So I would say my experience has been very mixed. I've had times of love, compassion, community, really good things, but also this sense of not belonging. England's not my country. I can't say I'm English. I've got to say I'm Black, British. Then when I'm saying I'm
here, because you say Black, British, and maybe you can say what is the difference to like calling out. You can't say that you're a Black English woman, but you're a British woman. What is the exact difference to that?
I think the difference just comes to what they put on a form. As mad as it sounds. So somebody who's saying English feels like their heritage has always been in English, which would mean that you're white, because you've got a heritage there. But because like Jamaica was part of the colonialism and now we're independent, Jamaica is, we're British, so we're part of the British Empire instead of being English.
Okay, I understand.
So
Yes.
when we have forms to tick in the UK, you can't be Black English. You've got to be Black British Caribbean or Black British African or mixed.
Oh, okay.
And if you're white, you're either white, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, white European, or white other. So it comes down to what's given to us to tick.
Oh, crazy. So you really have that separation also on paper. This is unbelievable because of course, I mean, it's two-sided, right? Because
Yeah,
first of all, you can do good statistic of that because you
yeah,
are separate like that. But in the same time, the identity is also going back to these identities where you can tick the box, right? And just to listen to you because I'm half Gambian, so
yeah,
this was a British colony as well.
yeah,
So to see this, like, okay, and now it's okay, you're calling it British, not an
yeah.
English colony. Okay, because I never hear that. I never was thinking about that. I always say it's like, okay, they are the bad guys, and I'm happy. So it's like, I'm half Gambian. I'm already half the way of a German with our
Yeah,
history. So we are
yeah,
doomed, kind of. Right?
yes,
Yeah, right. Uh, and but for me, what really interesting that you're saying that okay, I separate that because
yeah,
we have this struggles. So both parents for you are black, I'm mixed, but I can still see that we have the same identity crisis or identity issues to figure out where I'm belonging to. So
yes.
right, because we specifically when you say that you're half Jamaican or both parents have
Both parents are from Jamaican,
from
but
Jamaica.
really we come back to Nigeria, you
Ah,
know.
okay,
Well, I know my dad's side is definitely Nigerian because our
yeah.
ancestral thing is Nigeria. So that's what I mean. It's quite interesting. And I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and she goes, "Do you know it's only people from Jamaica if you ask them where you're from?" Because she's Somalian, so she was born in the UK, but she says I'm Somalian.
Mm-hmm.
And when she asks me what I am, I'm like, I'm Black British. I've never been to Jamaica, so I don't want to claim it. But my culture is Jamaican, and then back to African. So I know that's my culture, but all I've ever known is England.
And this is what I said the same in one of my other podcast episodes that I said I can't claim that I'm Gambian. I say I have the heritage from Gambia because I was growing up by my white mom, so she's the German part of it, and I didn't grow up with the culture of my father. So I had a huge identity crisis because the people want to believe that you belong to Gambia, even you don't had any footstep in this country. And it's like
Yeah.
how I can belonging to a country I never visit and I never adapted the culture to that. And I think a lot of people just see our skin color and saying, Jamaica. And it's
Yeah.
like, do you have that same? Because it's like,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the minute I'm from, that I'm half Gambian, it's like, oh, Gambia.
Yeah.
Please tell me more about it. It's like, I can read Wikipedia as well if you like to.
I can look it up for you
Yeah.
and give you some things. And, I think that's it. Because my mum was Jamaican and my dad came from a very Jamaican household. I can get a lot. Obviously, I understand a lot of the culture and I've been privileged to have that. I get Saturday soup, I get cussing out, I get some of the words and the cloak, all of that. But I've never been to Jamaica. I get the music, I get it, and I probably would go there and feel like it's at home, but because I haven't been here, home is England.
And how, because I know that in England or UK, what you prefer, UK to say UK or England? Either way, okay.
Either way, I'm not very precious. I think more white people are precious about it because it's England, because they're like, this is England, that's Scotland. They only like it when it's like games and everybody's involved, and then it's the UK. The UK have won, England's won, very much like that. Just like the football at the moment.
Okay, this is good to know because yeah, I'm always confused. It's like, okay, what's UK, what's England, and then
Yeah,
I talking about that. But
yeah,
when you because what I know that UK or England,
yeah,
whatever, we
yeah.
have the point.
Yeah,
That you
either.
have a big Jamaican community. How was it for you to growing up with the strong Jamaican community in the UK?
Yeah, I think it, you know, you say that and I already feel sad because I feel it's being lost,
Mm-hmm.
because all the things that I grew up in this lovely Jamaican community with, my kids don't, you know,
Okay.
and partially my fault, partially we're not, that community isn't there anymore. But growing up in that community was about having strong connections, having a sense of, no matter what's going on around me in England or the UK, this is who we are. We have this unspoken language and these unspoken things between us that connects us all together. So and of course, but you know, people don't have as many kids anymore. So my dad had 7 brothers and sisters. So I grew up with lots of cousins, like lots of cousins. So the whole thing was like, you know, you have all the cousins at the house and you have a family party and you're eating all the food and you're dancing to all the music. And it just makes you feel a part of something. But then you're hearing the stories of other other religions, other races, what white cultures like, what Pakistani, Muslim, Hindu, all these other cultures are like. And I would say, not that we were integrated, but when I was younger, it felt more like a community, especially with them other sort of communities. It didn't, as a child, it didn't feel like there was a big divide.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but culturally, with Jamaican, the food, the everything, it was like a warmth. It was like a warmth. But really, when I reflect as well, I didn't know much about the African community because Jamaican and African was like two separate things, which is quite sad as well. Because now I look at African community and I can see, I can understand, you know, how some of the Jamaican communities come from that, how we do things differently, how things we do the same. We like bright colours, big music, winding up our waist, you know, family, and all those important things. So I look back and I think I loved my Jamaican community, but I wish it was extended more to a black community, which involved
Mm-hmm.
like African and other black communities where we could come together. And it's nice to see it now, but it wasn't something I saw a lot of growing up.
Mm-hmm. I completely feel that because two things there. It's that I what I was hearing from a friend of mine. He's also from the Caribbean, but he
Yeah.
grew up in France, and he's mentioned as well that in the Caribbean that sometimes, and we can see. I don't want to drop her name, a famous
Mhm.
rapper. I don't like her anymore because she's
Yeah.
Trump supporter. So you know what I mean,
I know
right?
who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes. And she's so proud to be Caribbean, but she's detaching herself to being black. And this is what I experience or what I hear sometimes, that like Caribbeans the better black kinda, and the Africans we are not that wealthy or not that nice to see. And because of course I never was growing up with the Gambian culture, but when I
Yeah.
experienced that it is different to call yourself African,
Yeah.
and it's different to being somewhere else, like Afro American or
Yeah.
Caribbean, that they
Yeah.
thinking they are the better blacks, and it's like
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. Your roots are coming from Africa, so it makes no sense to separate yourself from the continent where you're actually belonging to,
Yeah.
and this was to imagine or to yeah to feel that the colonizers had implemented that
Yes.
much hate for our
Yes.
own communities is just incredible. And
Yeah.
it is inherent what we are experiencing in the communities and what you was just describing, that
Yeah.
it is an isolated community what happening because we are not all coming together. And I hear that also from my hometown Hanover, where I'm from, because we have a strong Gambian community. But
Yeah.
also what I hear from my sister sometimes, what she's saying, that the Gambian and the Senegalese people to be honest, they are the same people. It was just divided by those colonizers, French and British. But
Yeah.
if you see, they speaking the same language,
Yeah.
Wolof and Mandinka. They have the
Yeah.
same roots.
Yeah.
And when I see that they are, but they are separated. So because
Yeah.
they have it so inherent and so internalized, that they saying no, we are not
No,
the same people.
we're not the same.
Yes,
We're
you're
so
Gambian and
different.
I'm Senegalese. It's like doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
because you're from the same region, and yeah, but this is
Yeah.
also what we need to debunk. I think
Yeah.
in our communities, we need to talk about that and we need to address that we should come together. And this is completely detached from which region you are or which African country you come. We need to evaluate and we need to say, yeah, this is our culture and this is what we need to celebrate. Because when we're coming together and when we're holding hands together, then we can find and decolonize ourselves. If we are not starting to do that, we have a hard time because we are attacking each other.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And I would say, even though that happens, even in the Caribbean, like Jamaica is supposed to be like the best, right? I'm not saying, please no, I'm not saying it. Well, I have to say a little bit it is because it's my culture, but I'm not saying it is. But they look at all the islands and be like, that's a small island, this, that, all of that. And so I think it's this thing, it's a whole mentality for black people, it's ingrained in us is that we have to fight against each other or be better than the other one, because when we're fighting against each other, how do we come together? How do we have that shared, actually we're not going to stand up for this, we're not going to take this. And even if we see, African American or UK, black, British, whatever it is, it's just this thing, but hold on, we're just all black here, you know what I mean? We might have little bits of, the far right are absolutely the far right if they're in the UK, if they're in Germany, if they're under they're all the same. They all have their one thing. We're just going to hate anything immigrant or foreign or
yes.
anything which doesn't look like us or makes us feel scared. We're just going to hate it and blame it. And we don't even have this collective of, this is who we are, and we're just going to stand together against this. It's just as an adult looking back, it feels devastating. It feels really devastating.
It is, and actually, we just jumped into the second question. My second question was, "What means community for you?"
Yeah. So, I think growing up, if I think about community for me is something that where I can be myself and feel safe, and it's a coming together of everything. So where I live now, I wouldn't say I'm a community person. It's where I live. I don't know whether it's a sign of the times. I don't know whether it's a me thing. Could be a bit of both. But I don't feel a sense of community there. I go home. I leave there when I go to work. It's where I live. As I get in my door, I don't care what's outside.
I have
Too much.
yes.
Too much.
I have to completely the same thing at the moment because
Yeah.
I moved last year to a little village. It 12,000 inhabitants, and my hometown have 500,000 inhabitants. So it's a really small a town I'm living in. I really like my neighbor. She's nice. She's kind. She's really old,
Yeah.
not really 73, but I mean it's a different generation. So she could be my grandma, and
Yeah.
but she gives me a sense that okay, I'm accepted here, but
Yeah.
and my house is saying, yeah, you're part of this house. I greet you, I say hello and all that stuff. So this is a nice community I'm attaching, but not in the sense that they are not black.
Yeah.
She was born in Angola, but she moved to Portugal, and she's white. So she have a different, but in the same time, it's nice to see that she have. I don't need to I don't need to explain her
Yeah.
my skin color because
Yes.
she grew up with that, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I like, that I feel really accepted and that we can have a sense of community even outside of our race and
Yes.
outside of our queerness, for
Yes.
example, to have
Yes.
that kind of sense to find other people around us.
Yeah.
But this is chosen community, right? This is
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
chosen. But I have to say, when I'm going here on the street, I don't have any friends around me here. I don't talk with the people that much, or just saying hello and goodbye, and that's all. They recognize me that I'm living here right now, but it's not the sense that I going to any kind of
Yeah.
festivals, or we saying,
Yes.
hey, let's do something together or something. No, this I don't have.
No.
And since I moved to this little town, I can see, or I recreate the sense of friendship in general as well. Because when you are moving, you always can see, okay, who is real friends and who are
Yeah.
actually kind of they like you when you're around, but they are not trying to reach you or going to you or offer you,
Yeah.
hey, it's now an hour to come to your place, but I would like to come. And said, I have one. One, she's regularly saying, hey, we need to meet. Let's hang
Yeah.
out. I would like to come to your place. No worries. And but she's the only one. And a lot of people don't do that.
Exactly.
And but yeah, a community. And that's why I started with the podcast, because
Yeah.
for me, I can see how destroyed our community is,
Yes.
and that we need to debunk a lot. Because
Yeah.
also when I see when African people, and now I say African people, when they're coming from the continent to Europe, they don't have that. They are separated by country, and they
Yeah.
decide to being by the country. And there's one German comedian, he's from Tanzania, and he said once that when he came to Germany, he says like, "Oh, I didn't know that every black person are now my siblings." So because he was like, we don't have that in Africa, we don't have
Yeah.
that. They're going
No.
from country to country. It's like, okay, where you're from, but
Yeah.
then they don't see the skin color. But
Yeah.
here, then they coming to Europe, and then it's like, oh, do you know Amadou? Like, I just quote this song. But it's like, huh?
Yeah.
It's like, no. And he says like, I didn't know that I have a sibling in Senegal.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
completely different from Tanzania, but it's okay. And I also mentioned in another one that for me it was so funny, because when I was watching from Disney the Lion King, and then
Yeah.
they saying and singing Hakuna Matata, I was saying, oh, this is Africa. No, this is East Africa, and I need to be specific, because this is from I think it's Swahili, right? And I think it's he mentioned that Hakuna Matata is from Tanzania. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, okay.
so the Lion King is playing in Tanzania and not in whole Africa. It's like, okay,
Not everywhere.
yes,
I think, yeah, I totally get that. And I think that's the thing about community, isn't it? Like, you have to feel like you fit into it. I feel like very much I fit into my black community. I fit into my community of friends who know me, who would come an hour to visit me, who would do things like that. So, but I think, when we look at England in particular, when we talk about community, what they will speak about things like is, oh, well, in the 1960s, if the Queen had something, we'd have tables out and we'd have Victoria sponge cake and that sense of community. Well, we were never going to be a part of that, let's be.
okay,
As
yeah.
black people, we weren't going to be a part of that community. So I think a lot of black and Asian people have created their own communities. What we don't have for us, I would say, as black Caribbean or black Africans, is a shared religion, is a shared language, which would help us keep our communities to ourselves. Or, and I say that our communities are supposed to be for, I suppose, everyone to join, but it's who's joining and what they're doing to help your community. So when we speak about white allies or allies, what are you actually doing? Are you coming with me on a protest, or are you talking to your mum and dad about their racism? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So for me, community is about feeling that sense of belonging and feeling that I belong there. Do I feel like I belong where I live at the moment? No. But when I get in my house, I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care. Growing up, did I feel a community? Yeah, we had a community on our road. all the kids would play together. I'm not saying all the parents would be in each other's house, but they'd say hello. That felt like a community. You know, if something happened, everybody was out on the road. But it's just not like that anymore. And it's unfortunate, but I don't
But
feel like it is.
because you mentioned it several times already, because what do you think what happened during the time you growing up and during your time now your kids growing up? Why this sense of community is not there
Um,
anymore?
I think it's because I think it's the lack of trust in people,
Mm-hmm.
partially. Um, I think, you know, we used to play out on the road every day. I think maybe the rise of internet and social media makes it more scary because we've got more groomers, we've got more ways of connecting people. Maybe it stopped us having that sort of connection because we now can do it really fast. I feel now as well, when when a lot of Caribbean were called over, because we never just came, we were asked to come over
Okay.
to England and the UK. We were put all in certain areas. So we were all put in like the rough areas. So
Mm-hmm.
you'd get, you know, Handsworth, where I grew up in, was used to be a predominantly rich white area. Now it was, you know, dominated by Asian and Black communities mainly. Now it's very much Eastern European, a little bit. Still got some of the Black community and the Asian communities there. So as well, we were forced into a community, but now we've got a bit more wealth, a bit more access. We're not where we always are. We're dispersing out. We're going to different things. We're not always in the same community. And although they're trying to push everybody out of London because that's a money thing, they're still
Mm-hmm.
going to other sort of areas. And it seems like white people can keep them areas, but Black people can't.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand that. Be-
So it's a number of things, I think.
mm-hmm.
But I think the rise of probably technology.
Yes, because yeah, and this is what I had in my feeling as well, because we have this epidemic of loneliness and all that kind of things that people are not really trying to interact and all that stuff. And I know how I grew up, that I know that where I need to go or what I need to change, that I can come in contact with people. Like, for example, I'm going now to the gym because I wanted to start cardio and exercise, and say, okay, maybe there I can find some people I can connect with and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And then just as if even if I just greeting them on the street and say have a little conversation, this gives me a lot of joy. I don't need, because I have so many online friends, and to be honest, for me, I don't feel lonely because I
yeah,
love my apartment. My apartment is beautiful. I spend a lot of time here, so so it's like, because sometimes it's like the world is so overwhelming,
yes,
and when I just can disconnect in my own apartment, this is online. That's fine. So I see it from the far away, and this is what I enjoy, because also I had a really wild 20s. Now I'm in my
yeah.
30s, and it was like, no, I'm fine.
They're the wild 20s as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I get
But
it.
seriously, no, I did my parties. Sometimes
Yeah,
I still going if I like to, but this is we had our times, but this specifically for the new generation,
yeah,
that with the pandemic, actually pandemic with Corona, what we
very much.
had,
Yeah,
they lost a lot of the sense, and I
yeah,
could see by myself as well that I developed a social anxiety,
yeah,
that I can't be in overcrowded places that
yes,
much. I love festivals still because
yeah,
I have my space, but sometimes it's still overwhelming when I'm just going through Lisbon and everything is so packed, and I don't have, and I'm feeling a little bit too packed because too
yeah,
many people are there. And I think most likely in London it's even worse because it's a metropolitan city, right?
yeah,
And but also there, in the what you mentioned, to the gentrification, what happened, we have the same as well. How I grew up in my neighborhood, it was predominantly a neighborhood for the workers.
yeah,
So now it changed because
yes,
people understand it's actually a really beautiful area.
yes,
So right,
yeah,
and now sometimes, since I living now 7 years, no, even more. Wait, 11 years I live now 11 years not in my hometown anymore, because I lived 4 years in Berlin and now 7 years here. And I can see all the time when I'm going back to my hometown that the changes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is scary because
It
my
is.
family is still there.
Yeah.
So, but in the same time, it's like, oh, why everything is right now? It makes no sense because we have a lot
No.
of Turkish people as
Yeah.
well, and but we can see that a lot of them are, or the streets are changing,
Very
and
much so.
big companies coming, trying to making the gentrification,
Yeah.
and then we have this culture EVs or culture environment NGOs, whatever. They
Yes.
saying, oh yeah, we want to preserve culture, but actually they're against it and trying to kick out people from there.
Very much so. Very much
Yes.
so. We have that so much here. Birmingham city centre was like a great little hub. It's all flats now. It's all designed around this HS2, where it's going to be a fast train from London to Birmingham. So Londoners now can buy properties in Birmingham, get to work in about an hour, cheaper properties, and then that's moving everybody out of London so they can make that this super rich amazing area. That's what I think. So yeah, and then where do you have a community in that? There's no sense of what the initial communities are. One good thing I would say about the pandemic, and the only good thing I would say, is that other sort of little communities form. So there's an amazing little community for Black women who don't have very much friendships online, and they go up and they do meets and they do everything. So I think people are trying to form their own communities instead of trying to fit into the communities what are there. That's the only good thing I would say. So even if it's a book club, a theatre club, a running club, a Shih Tzu meetup club, which is, I'm on the line with them, but I haven't gone to meet them yet. But even if it's that, people are now trying to form little communities. But I think, again, as a Black woman, it's, do I fit in that community? If it's a Black friendship group, yeah. If it's a Shih Tzu meetup and all the people with dogs are white, no.
Yes, because to be honest, what we're seeing at the moment, or what get viral in the internet with the black boy who get killed by a friend on the island, or I think they don't know if he got killed. But what I just saw today, that all the friends, I wouldn't call them friends at all, but those people, they deleted their Instagram.
Of course they did.
Yeah, they get out of the social media, and it's like, okay, this is terrible. And then we had the same thing with the Black woman in America. What happened as well? That those cases, and it's like, I completely understand that if you are going in places, and specifically, and I think we soon we can go to the third question, specifically what happened at the moment in Europe, that the far right is uprising, right? And that those white communities are not safe anymore, or
I don't think they ever have been.
yes, I want to say that.
I really don't think they ever have been. And it doesn't mean that, you know, this is the blanket for all white people. That's the thing with racism, yeah? And this is why it can't be reversed, because when white people are racist towards Black people, they just think all Black people are the same. You could be Obama, you could be me, you could be Michael Jordan. You're just all the same. Whereas we can recognise there's allies, there's people who isn't, there's people who very much are, there's people who hide behind the shadows. And I get that, but that does never, ever, ever mean that I would be out on my own as a Black person with a group of white. The only time you're going to see me with a big group of white people is at work.
Yeah.
9 till 5. After that, I'm going on.
Yes. And they're also the same. It's sometimes I'm doing online, so I'm working remote, but in the same time, for me, it's sometimes when I'm being in a place and then I see that and I'm the only Black person in the work environment, it says something to me. It's like screaming. It's like, don't be too loud. Don't be visible that much. And I can't hide that. I'm always like that. So this is it's not an issue. I think we need to. But in the same time, when I listen sometimes, when white people thinking they are not viewed or they are not judged in the sense, and we don't have so much diversity, they are wild. They talking wild things and they reproducing racism so many times. It's like, wow, okay, guys,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing, but we shouldn't talk maybe about a different people from those countries about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, but yeah, it's just wild for me. But specifically, we are in this part with what you experience also with the racism or the spaces.
Mhm.
How things changed when, or how did you experience the Brexit?
So Brexit, all Brexit has done for me is put up my food shopping. Yeah. Make prices rise. Brexit for me was as soon as they spoke about Brexit. So we have Mr. Nigel Farage, who is Nigel Farage. I ain't even going to say anything before I get liable or anything. The MP Nigel Farage, and wow, he's stepping down at the moment, and then re-elected. I don't know. He did this campaign about Brexit, and we also had the Conservative government saying, if we leave Brexit, we're going to have like millions of pounds every week to put back into our National Health Service, what we have for our health, our GP, everything. So mix that in with immigration and far right, I was just like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Brexit, and what I did was look at the human rights, what we have in the UK. And we know that, you know, the European Council, they help with things like the laws and everything. And I was like, I'm protected as a black woman under these laws. I'm going to leave it to these white English racist people to tell me what I need and what I don't need. So I didn't, obviously, my bad thing was I didn't vote, and I should have voted for it to stay. That's a me thing. I need to vote. But Brexit was just this thing like the local council election. You could just feel the racism rising. You just could feel it in the water. You could feel it on social media. So you knew this was, when racist white people vote, they vote out of racism. That's it. It doesn't have to make logical sense. It's just, what is a button that will get immigrants out, that will stop us being a part of anything foreign, that will give us our laws back. So we've all had it back. The NHS ain't got no more money. The NHS is broke. So what, you were lied to? Oh, did they lie to you? Oh, really?
and oh my gosh, because I don't know where to start with that. Because the thing is, we had an interview with the far right head of the far right of the alternative of Germany, and because they want to also, they don't like you and all that stuff. They would love to leave, you know.
Yeah.
The worst thing what you can ever do, because it's traveling is so easy. You can just go to other countries and have it's easier. You don't need to pay that much to travel somewhere and have to do restriction and kind of. But in her interview, what she was, because she have her wife is from Sri Lanka. So,
okay. Like Nigel Farage has a wife who's German. Yeah.
What type of percent? See, because the far right leaders, they have immigrant or like migrated people as wives or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
But they advocate for the opposite thing. And this is the wild take, what she was saying. She said in the interview, in the the hotspot news on prime time on TV, she said that first of all, her wife, she's from Swiss. She's not affected by that. We want the immigrants gone. And it's like, okay, but she's from Sri Lanka. No, the difference here is she was adopted.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when I hear that, it's like, okay, but this makes not the how an adoptee makes the difference to that she still have other roots. So, right? Of course, she's from Switzerland. Yeah, she's adopted. She grew up there. She's socialized there. Of course, it's the same with us. We are English. We are German. We are socialized in the country. We have different roots. Yes, of course. But if they are talking, this is not what they're meaning, and they're always saying, "No, you are a good immigrant." It's like, no, we are not immigrants. We are actually the people from here. So it's like it makes no sense. But how she's talking about the other groups and how she's talking about her wife, and it's like, but your wife will be not, she will be affected by that as well. And the wild thing is also, and I have no idea why Germany is always doing that, the head of the far right in Germany is from Switzerland. So why? Hitler was from Austria. Why are we trying to come people outside of Germany, coming to our country, being white and saying, no, you need to go?
Yeah. It blows my mind. And then people follow this, and that's the thing that always gets me, like, you're following this crap. So even if we go to America and we look at Donald Trump and his wife Melania, who is no way American in this world, but we're going to follow Donald Trump and Melania, and he's going to go, immigrants need to go and you need to go and don't. But also the people following, they don't realize that they're going to be affected as well. So all the disabled people who followed Trump, and then he took their benefits away.
Yes.
You thought when he said DEI, did you not realize you're going to be affected? So when he got rid of DEI, the biggest people affected was white women.
Yeah.
The people who voted for him, biggest people affected, because as white women, you were hired under, diversity, equality, and inclusion, because it only works for white men. You're a woman, so they've hired you as a woman under that, and now they've fucked you. And then they're like, well, I didn't think it was going to affect me, but you were ready to affect black women, you were affecting Mexican women, Asian. Well, I'm going to go back on Latino and Mexican women, because some of them voted, so that's your problem, because I don't know why you thought you were in any sort of scope white with Donald Trump. That's like me going, like my wig's a bit coloured, I'll go with Trump and the whiteness. They don't mean you, girl. They don't mean you.
And this is the thing what I also saw at the moment. Like I think a minister of Paraguay was offending a black France soccer player. So and she said horrible things. And then also Argentina. It's like when I hear about this country, it's like Latin America in some points, like this country I will not go. And I dated also Argentina. It was the last one I dated in my life, to be honest, because it was like, no. He was so delusional of saying and wanted to tell me I care too much for the society, and that
red flag.
Yeah. And for me it makes no sense, because for me the thing is like, you are so proud to be from Argentina or from other country. I also had a dispute with a Colombian guy.
Yeah.
But then you're using your white privilege because you know exactly who your ancestors are. So you can ask black people who are the ancestors, because we normally don't have any trace to them. So because they was erased in history. And I think if you can trace your ancestors back to somewhere, you have a privilege, and people don't understand it. Of course. Okay, you can speak a different accent of Spanish. That's fine. But it makes you still give you a white privilege, even you are grown up in the global south, because one of your ancestors decided to leave Europe and staying and settle over there.
And I would say it's not that they don't, we always go to the thing they don't understand. They freaking understand. They're not stupid.
Yes.
They just don't care that our history has been erased. I've had a white British man say to me, what do you think about Black History Month? And I went, I think it's crap. And he said, why? I said, we should learn Black history all throughout the year. Why are we limited to a month? I said, do you know how big Black history is? He went, and I went, yeah, because you think Black history is just slavery. You think we were just all grown for slavery. We had nothing before that. We just sort of rised up out of the soil to become slaves, and then they took us all, and that's all our history. And I said that's exactly why Black history should be taught. But I said, you're that racist and arrogant, and you think it's fine to even ask me that. What do you think I was going to say? We shouldn't have Black history. I've learned all about your history, and all your history is war, crimes, taking over things. Not a history not a history I can relate to, because it's not my people doing it. So the blatant racism also, like in England with racism, it can feel blatant but subtle, but you know exactly what it is.
Yes.
And that's what I would say about racism here.
Yes, and so the thing is, my sister, she just recorded with a friend an episode, and they went actually really far back to the first century that we was already in Europe, and people don't know that. And it's like before that, even with Christianity, it was so deep rooted as well, because we got in Germany specifically, we had how it's called, a holy person elected by the religion, and this person came from Ethiopia. What do you think how the people in Ethiopia looks like? Exactly. They most likely wasn't white. So it's like it's mixed. It's
the way Jesus is white as well,
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my!
Let's not get Christians mad today.
Yes, blonde hair, blue eyes, for
blue
sure.
Eyes, white skin, perfect.
The Palestinian Jesus is definitely a European person, of course.
Yeah,
it's
of course.
The people. It makes no sense how, but I'm happy that we are starting to debunking, but.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, why a lot of white people get threatened, because they understand it's like, if we are not starting to go at war to those immigrant whatever, then we lose equality. Or they're not losing anything. We want to have the same rights. This is I think, and this is what the people still don't understand. We are fighting not to overstep them. We are fighting to be equal and have the same environment and goals. And I can see that with my YouTube channel as well. I have a way more harder time to grow in general, because algorithm is also really racist. People to saying, okay, hey, we want to have critic voices, but you are too critic against white people, or when we are calling out them. We're calling out everybody. We was talking already about our community, that we are not monoliths and that we are all divided in each other. And I don't understand when then white people think that we are just talking about them and attacking them, because this is not the point. We want equality, and we want to have the same rights. And and I still can see when black people in Germany doing YouTube and they making one mistake, they are gone. You can't do mistakes. You need to be always lenient, and you need to be always good, because the punishment of the majority of the society in Europe is so harsh with them, because they even left people thinking that it's fine to attack them when they're doing a mistake. To call out a mistake, it's fine, but you need to consider all the time that racism, ableism, sexism will be impacted, and the harsh way how you attacking people. Most likely, people going with slurs, they trying to being under your skin, to rip you off, and being really because we had this. Colleen Fernandez, she had that her ex was doing deepfakes and all that stuff, and she got death threat because she went to with a lawyer against him, to being on a judge and all that stuff. So the punishment for a marginalized person is way higher than if you're a white man. Specifically.
Oh, we know it. We know it through history. We know it through today. We know it with the police. We know it with, schooling, and this whole thing that's come out in America a few years ago about paying for college places, and that black person has got my place. It's so and I know people say we have to have the same rights as them, but that really doesn't sit well with them because that still puts them on a hierarchy. You know, they've got a privilege, not a hierarchy. You know, you're not better than me. You, I don't think you can cook better than me. I can't cook great, but I've seen some of the dishes that white people produce, and no, thank you, I don't want to. But then, you know, but I get it's the right things, and we should have equal rights, but we should have not as them. I'm not going to put anybody on a. We're humans. That's the standard that we should be starting from. But we know there's a privilege there because of their colour, and then there's a privilege because of race, and there's a privilege because of ability, and there's a privilege if you're heterosexual. You know, where are we starting from a human? Why aren't we starting from humans and then people who are bad, like paedophiles and rapists, murderers and serial killers? They're just bad. Because trust me, if you're in a predominantly white area or in a predominantly white country like the UK, trust me, the groomers, the murderers, the rapists are going to be predominantly white. Yeah?
Yes.
But we know that it's not going to be spoken about because as soon as one black person does something bad, like you said, they're the worst people are. We're going to put this out. It's a black man. It's a black woman. I work in the field of domestic abuse. I work in a predominantly white area. The predominant abusers are white men against white women. That's just the facts.
And there I have, or what I understood there as well when I was investigating a little bit, because I never got harsh on my queerness or to being gay. And then I did the wild stand on that, but I'm not part of the white community. Yes. Because when I see how white men, when they're going to the coming out and all that stuff, they are part of the white community and they are way more harsher with them than they were with me. It's not always the case, of course. Yeah. Specifically when you are feminine or presenting more feminine, then you get a really harsh way and attacks and all that stuff. But I understood that since I'm not part of the white community and they can't associate me with them, I'm just, okay, he's gay, whatever. So it's not affecting me because my kid is white. They will not learn anything because he's black. So and this is what I see, or why I do this stand, because for me was when I was then in some black communities, like they was way harsher with me.
Yes.
Because they associate them with me because I'm black, and the white community was more softer on the homophobia. So for this was okay. Some issues are linked in that, and we all have that. That's why we also sometimes trying to not talking that much about our failures in our communities, because what you were saying, black people, they see us as one.
Yes.
As one person, whatever, monoliths, and we are all from the country Africa. So and but then
even when you got a Birmingham accent, you're from Africa. I don't know how that works.
That's that. No accents like, oh, you're from Gambia. It's like, okay, whatever.
But I think that is such a good point you make. But even if we have our difficulties in our community, like, so what we'll get is black on black killing. Well, white people kill white people every day. White people kill white people and bury them in their house. Yeah, man called Fred West. Yeah, buried a lot of white people in his house. But then again, it's used against us as, that's the problem with your community. You kill each other and then you want to blame everybody. Nobody is going to stand here and say they don't have problems in their own race or community. To do that would be delusional.
Yes.
There are going to be problems in every community, probably even around the same things we talk of, what we experience from white people. I'm not saying that, but the problem is we don't have a space to say there's problems in our community because we don't have that privilege. And even if we do talk and say it, it's used again as another weapon against us. Like, there's not problems in your community. Well, if you see a lot, and again, I'm not saying all, but if you see a lot of white people doing coke, that's fine because coke's acceptable. It's an acceptable drug against
Yeah.
rich white people, or very. If you see a group of black boys and they're smoking weed, now nobody's saying that's not a problem. Maybe it is a problem, but they're getting arrested, they're getting done for dealing, they're getting done for stuff. Whereas you can walk into work with white powder under your nose, and that's okay. And that's
Yes.
the problems. We probably have the same problem in each community, but we're vilified for our problems, and your problems are just ignored or excused, or there's a pathway where you don't get the same sort of sentence for that, and that's the problem. That's the
Yes.
problem. This is why we can't even have an opportunity to say it or be open about it, because we're just automatically vilified for it and then told what our problems are. Well, the problem with your community is you lot want to kill each other.
Yes. And what the people don't understand is we get reminded all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of people saying it's like, hopefully, when we hear about like deaths or something like that, hopefully he don't have a migration background. And this is always because if one doing one stuff
Yeah.
of millions of people, we
Yeah.
get punished, all of them. And this is exactly what you're saying with the coke. We have a high cocaine use in the east of Germany. So, but no, there also is predominantly white, and we are not addressing that. So that's fine, that's okay. But
Right. Fine. Fine.
yeah, or what we can see also when we're looking at Hollywood. So the head of Hollywood and all the stuff, you can't tell me that they are not all using drugs. So it's like this is the scene in the area where they're growing up, and this is the environment what they're doing. So and that people are still trying to villainize, for example, like with weed, it's like, okay, but what happening when someone is just smoking weed, and how are the accidents with that? Cocaine is way more dangerous because the people are thinking they are God. They have this God complex when they
Like they
doing
don't
that.
already feel like they're God.
Yes, yes.
Godlike on top of godlike.
So, and this is where the what the shifting is, because it's isolated, and like what you're saying, it's the communities don't want to talk about that, and the white community try to present something up, but they are way more worse than we are, because we are the good people. And
Yeah.
it is not about good and bad. It's just that we want to understand that we are coming together, and one of the another is not good or bad, and that we are trying with each other to understand and address the same kind of things. But
Yeah.
nobody's talking about Epstein anymore. Nobody. So, and for me, it's like this is the box of Pandora what was opening, but we know that Donald Trump also was silent on that because he's involved in with that. So, and still people saying that he's not a pedophile, and for me, it's that how people can just saying that, or being in this stand. Of course, I now understand the systemic behind that, but
Yeah.
still, how people can be so delusional to like, no.
I really think it's a mental illness. I remember listening to, what was her name? There's a famous black author. I can't think of her name for the life of me at the moment. And they asked her, "What do you think racism about?" She goes, "I think it's a mental. Is it Toni Morrison? Sorry, Toni Morrison."
Okay.
And she said, "I think it's a mental illness. Like racism's this. It's like this cognitive dissonance between reality and thought, and a reality and opinion. An opinion takes over the reality of fact. In my opinion, black people are all bad. That's it. So you could meet a nice black person, you could meet 20 nice black people, you could see a foundation of black people doing a load of stuff, but the opinion, while he's doing that, I bet you he's guilty. The opinion just overrides the fact. So I'm with Toni Morrison here. I think it's a mental illness. I think it's an absolute mental illness to see things factually in your eyes and still hold on to your opinion. It's a mental illness, or it's an entitlement.
Yes, and we don't have the thing what people don't understand. We don't have the research for it because nobody want to touch it. Nobody want to touch this, and nobody want to touch also what actually oppression is doing with us, with our minds, when we're
Yeah.
growing up in
They
this
don't care.
racist
They
world.
don't
Yeah.
care to research it. If you research it and you come out with the thing that racist people are flipping crazy, you know, then we'd rule the world, and that ain't gonna happen.
Yes. But here we're coming actually to the fourth question, and I think
Yes.
it's a good one because
Yes.
with the current riots of the far right, how do you feel right now in the UK?
Um, the only thing I'm really worried, I still feel okay because we have two. So I don't know how in the UK we have two sort of elections. So we have like local councils. So
Mm-hmm.
that's your local councils, and then we have like the general election. So who's going to be in charge? And we've recently had a council election, and our what I would deem our far right political party Reform, even though there's one even more far right now, Restore, they did very well. They did very well, and it shows you the times because obviously there's a lot of racist people voting for it, and they will. I don't know whether people in Germany do that, but they hide behind the racism, so they'll carry on like it's not a racist vote, but it's 100% a racist vote. And
We have the same.
yeah, so they've come in for the councils, and because the people who voted for them are so thick, yeah, it's a council election. So it's the people who are looking at your binge, your everyday local living. And most of them have resigned because people stepped up because they thought, when I get elected, I can eradicate immigration, I can get all the immigrants out. But you don't have the powers to do that. You've got to sit there and talk about the boring things like street bin collection, bin lights, who's collecting the rubbish, how many potholes are being filled. So in it just showed you how people will just vote for racism. So although I feel okay at the moment, I want to see what the next general elections are going to be like. And that's when I think I'll feel more fearful because everybody wants to vote for them but doesn't read the manifesto. They don't read what the Reform wants to do. And part of what Reform wants to do is quite scary. It feels, when you read it, you think, oh, okay, that looks good. But then when you're black or you're a woman or you're a minority or you're LGBTQ or you're disabled, and you realize, well, he wants to take out DEI, then it's going to start touching people, and then people are going to understand. And part of me feels like, you know what? People should feel it. People should really feel what they voted for.
Yeah.
But then part of me thinks, but I'm one of the people who's going to feel as well. And I never voted for it, so why should I feel it? So the rise of the far right, in a weird way, I don't fear it because it's always been there.
Is it okay? Mm-hmm.
I feel the racism will be there. The only thing that fears for me is if they get in power,
Yeah.
how that will affect people. But I'm hoping people have these 2 years to educate themselves and understand how they're going to be affected. So I remember being at work and having a conversation with some of the women and going, so do you know that if they get in power and you lose your job, you have 4 months worth of benefits, and then after that they don't give you anything. And they went, that's right, because all them people sitting on benefits, that's right. And I said, but what if they sack you because you're a woman and now you can't get a job because you're a woman? Because that's what also is going to happen. And they went, really? And I went, yeah, if they get rid of DEI, you're a woman affected by it. So I remember now, if they sack you because you're a woman, you can't appeal it either because that's being taken away. So now you're sacked because you're a woman and now you can't get a job because you're a woman. So where's your money going to come from?
Yes.
I didn't realise that. Yeah, because again, you do that othering. It won't affect me. It's going to affect the people who don't work. But you're now part of them people because you might not have a job.
Yeah, and this is, it's always the same playbook, and it makes no sense because we saw this playbook all over Europe in histories, and I don't understand why people are not trying to acknowledge themselves in a better way, because what you just explained is the same what happening in Germany right now. So we have older people in power, but what they're doing everything derailing on the way when you're going to your pension. So you most likely need to have still a work when you're going in your pension, because your pension is not covering everything. And then they get they defunding you and all the kind of things. So it's all the time what they're doing. And then what you said as well, in my heart is saying Germany should burn. The people
Yeah.
should see what they was electing, but then the same, who's affected? Most likely my family. So, right? So, because I grew up in a single household with my mom, so, and then she has 3 black children.
Yeah.
We are most likely affected.
Exactly.
Not me, I live in Portugal, but
Yeah.
so I got the escape
I was
already.
amazing. I'll be all right.
I know already. I do my refugee came here because
Yeah.
most likely a lot of people need to run somehow, because I can see that in UK they are also quite violent,
Yeah.
but I also see in Germany they are also really violent. And I know our countries have some history with each other, so in this sense, maybe they are the same people and they just went to an island like, oh, I want to be isolated. But in the same time, for me, I can see also white friends. I grew up with them, and they definitely I love them. But in the same time, they don't feel the urgency I feel, because they wouldn't be affected
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
changes that much, because they are still in the system and they can hide, because normally they also have white girlfriends. They have no touching in any case in their family with immigrants or something like that.
Yeah.
And they don't have the urgency to being vocal about it. They don't have the urgency to saying, oh yeah, I need to do anything about it. No, they just they educate themselves. They being aware, okay, something is happening, but it's not enough that they're saying, I need to be on the street now. I need to be vocal. I need to be rioting and all this stuff. No, this is not happening in the majority.
Yeah.
And this is always also an issue in the left. What we have, we are not organized in the left. We are defunction in the left, because what I can see also when I going on the left side in Germany of the left party,
Yeah.
I don't see any interviews with black people.
No.
I see some have a migration background. Yeah, I can see that. But really, that they talking with black people? No, there's no interview at all. And this was giving me a little bit the ick, because for me it's like, you're advocating for all people, but why I can't see all people on your platform?
Exactly.
And
Exactly that.
and that's why it's like, no, for our rights, they are not for our rights.
No.
So,
And I don't know whether about in Germany, but in the UK, they put a lot of black people on telly who are part of conservative government. So very still right wing, and they will sit and tell you crap, and you're like, you know what, babes, your skin's black. I don't know where you are in that. I can't identify. I can't meet you. You know. So although they put black people on TV, it feels very tokenistic and not real. I'm not saying they don't put any, but I would say this as well. You know. And I'll say this about football. Usually when England play, all you see is a plethora of England flags. Since I've grown up, England's playing in the World Cup, England flags. There's not many out at the moment, and that's because when the reform was, you know, the whole reform thing, they put England flags everywhere, and a lot of British white people who were non-racist were like, you've ruined our flag now, because now our flag doesn't represent the football or us coming together in a sporting event. You've made the flag represent racism.
Yes.
So this time around, I'm not saying usually they have it on their cars, you know, there's stickers, there's everything. It's been a lot less because people, you know, even white British people who are non-racist are going, you know, you've made that flag represent something which it's not supposed to represent, which is like this racist, like, go home, this is our country, when actually we used to fly it as a sense of pride around, you know, this is England and this is our country and we're all together and we're all one. And I'm not saying racism didn't happen in that time, but I'm quite shocked that England are in the World Cup and we're not seeing the flags. So I also want to say there is a lot of non-racist white people. It's not all white people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say, there's always a level, and it's, I suppose, what you're doing to debunk racism as well. So you can be non-racist and do absolutely nothing to debunk racism, you know?
Yes.
So there's levels to it, but that's what I have noticed. Like, there hasn't been that many more flags flying because it's represented this is our country, you go home,
Mm-hmm.
in
And
the
it's
last few years.
I have a funny story here because
Yeah,
I don't have any representation with any flag, but my
yeah,
mom, she sent me a pride flag, so I have the
yeah,
rainbow flag.
hmm,
So, and I was thinking, okay, the people are few of them, not all of them, have Portuguese flag and all that,
yeah,
this patriotism, but it's soft. I don't feel threatened by the
yeah,
flag. What you just said
yeah,
about the England flag,
hmm,
but my neighbor, she came to me one time and saying, "Is this the German flag?" And I was
yeah,
like, "What do you mean? Which flag?" I, yeah, the flag what you have outside. And it's like, the flag I have outside, because I was really like,
yeah,
I didn't understood
yeah,
that she said it's from Germany. It's
yeah,
like, no, my mom, and then I said, yeah, my mom, she sent me this from Germany, yes, and because she
yeah,
don't speak English, I speak Portuguese with her, and then she said, so it's the German flag. And then I understood, no, it's not the German flag. It's the rainbow flag. It's
yeah,
different. It have
yeah,
nothing. It's detached
yeah,
from Germany. And it's like, no. I would never hang a German flag because of our history, we are detached to our flag, and we know it can be representing this kind of racism and
yeah,
Nazism what we
yeah,
have.
yeah,
That's why. But now I can see, or I'm not sure. I don't know because I was not in Germany and I didn't hear much from my family that there are a lot of German flags outside
yeah,
of Germany. But I can't really tell at the moment if we
yeah,
have that.
yeah,
But when I was growing up, I was always for Portugal, even in Germany. So
yeah,
me and my sister, we was the devils because she was for Brazil and I was for
yeah.
Portugal. And then
Uh-huh.
our best friend in school, he was the German one. So
Yeah.
we had three flags all the time when we meet together. So
You and
they
your,
were,
oh yeah.
yeah. And this is how detached we was already in our childhood to the country, because we
Yeah,
called an advocate because they gave us the ick we are not belonging there. But
yeah,
the image what I had from the riot was that what you're saying. First, I completely go with it that it's an illness. I
yeah,
completely agree with, because they going to first, before they going to the riots, they going to the to some immigrant restaurants and buying a falafel or a doner or whatever, and was like, how you can have presenting this the flag with you, going there and then marching for,
literally,
yes. And
literally.
this
Mhm.
video makes me like this, and there I can see, okay, yeah, they are ill. They can't do the connection what they are doing. It's like, because they got so vaccinated by
Yeah,
that, to
yeah,
saying, no, but those immigrants, we don't think that they will need to leave because
yeah,
they have a job.
yeah. And I think it's always that picking and choosing. Well, we like your food, but we don't like you. We
Yeah.
like your clothes, but we don't like you. We like that you've got, I don't know, a big bum, but we don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Always it's picking and choosing the bits. Oh, we like our friend, you know, Jim, but we don't like the rest of you. This privilege of thinking that you can pick and choose what's suitable for you. And we had that. The riots in the UK haven't really affected me because I haven't really been around them. I was walking through town with my partner, who is a white man, by the way. I'll put it out there. So I'm going to get loads of stick from the black community, but I love my people.
Mm-hmm.
But we were walking through the city centre, and there was a demonstration about to happen and go on. Um, and there was nothing. They were just standing there. Do you know what I mean? So I can't say for other places. What I've seen, it feels like a hype.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're violent, but it's just a load of drunken, yobby thugs who are racist. So You know, they can be drunk and yobby in your face. They could be working beside you. They could be your boss. You know, just because they're all together in the same place, it doesn't. I don't. I personally don't feel fearful. I can see how people feel fearful of it because it feels very aggressive and very horrible, but I haven't been in the situation to feel it. I see it on the TV, and it's just a part. It's just become a part of it, like the flags became part of it. You just like, look, these are just nonsense people. Obviously, there's no logic behind it. It's just that they're pure racists. That's what they want to do. Go and have your protest. If you touch me, I'll freaking kill you. But go and have your protest and do what you want to do. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, no, I understand but it's the same with like what we see with the violence in the police in
Yeah,
Germany. If you
yeah,
are just seeing those kind of news, it's like, oh, what happened in Germany? It's terrible. You can't move in Germany anymore. And that's, of course, in the majority, it's not the fact. You still can walk and all that kind of things. But what I want to say is, yeah, just off the perspective what I can see or what I just the images, and of course I'm doing every day I seeing those images and all that stuff, but that's why I'm a little bit biased and saying, okay, yeah.
yeah.
But now with you talking about that, it's like I want to visit you. I want to see you in person again and saying hello. How are you doing?
Those are babes.
So yeah,
We'll
I
go for a
should.
bottomless brunch. It'd be great.
This is amazing because it's the I never been to England. I never been to UK in general,
Yeah.
and I think the last one when they burned. I don't was it in Ireland? I'm not sure anymore.
There was, yeah, so they were burning immigrant houses in Ireland,
Ireland.
which was awful and very terrifying, obviously for the people who were there. But again, it's a scaremongering thing a lot of time, you know. And I'm not saying it's not real for the people there. It's very real for the people who are there. But a lot of time they have to put on the worst news, don't they? So they put on, you know, just like they do with black people. Oh, this black person, and then a white person stabs somebody and nobody hears about it. You know, it's just that fear, and whether they're putting it out there to fear people coming to England, maybe. You know, I remember even Handsworth. I remember going on a date with a guy, and he was like, "Will you take me to Handsworth? Will you take me there? That's where I grew up." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Really? Oh my gosh, I've heard all these bad things about it." And I'm like, "It's not like it's Beirut every day. It's like there's wars and guns and crimes every day. I walk down the street just fine." And he looked and he went, "Actually, it's quite nice here." And I'm like, "Of course it is. People live here. You know, sometimes it's sensationalized. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's not real, and it's not real who's happening to the people, but it's not next door to me. It's not in my face every
Yeah.
day. Racism is in my face every day. Rioting isn't in my face every day."
Yes. No, we have the same in my hometown as well. It's like
Yeah,
that. It's like, oh, you living there? How
yeah,
is it there? And it's
yeah,
like I going to school. My mom picked me up. I go. So I have the normal stuff. I was feeling safe to going alone to school. So it's like,
yeah,
and it was everything was so close. People know each other in all that kind. It was a community, and I think if you're growing up in a certain place, you will have the community. It's the same like here.
yeah,
So to be honest, I think my neighbor, she knows
mhm,
everybody.
yeah,
She knows all the gossip. So I'm in the resource of this community here. She knows where to go. She knows here, maybe don't, there not, blah, blah. I still feel safe. Even she
yeah,
said sometimes something controversial, and I think
yeah,
maybe she have a little bit more of a far right stand, but not through me.
yeah,
So, and this
yeah,
is also, what should I do? I will not
exactly.
punch her because she have a different, so she likes me, I like her, that's fine. If she says something, I pretend I don't understand because
Yeah.
it's, or at least I
I think
can't,
it's about knowing who you can and who you can't punch, really. That's what I think.
yeah, yes,
So he's an old lady. I'm just going to go, all right. Somebody
yes,
my age, we're going to brawl on
yes.
the streets. I'm going to take you a
So,
flag, you know, all that stuff.
exactly, because I don't need to argue with her. So
Yeah,
she's in the last quarter of her life. So it's like I don't need to argue with this old lady with
yeah,
her stand and all that. When she's really kind to me, she gives me marmalade and all this stuff. She gives me
yeah,
jam. So we
yeah,
have this good stand. But in the same time, I recognize okay, she have some far right beliefs. But what people need to understand, you can have far right beliefs, but it's making a difference if you are voting for them or if you're actually punishing everyone for this kind of things. We can argue about these things. I told her already that that Shager, the far right here, I really don't like them. She
Yeah.
accepted my stand to that, and I pushed back to her that it's like, no, what he is saying, that's not okay. I understand. I can agree with some issues that here, for example, we have a lot of people from Bangladesh and India,
Yeah.
and that they have in Portugal. It's not in all the areas, but mostly here, it's not that common that you have a crowded group of men.
Yeah.
But in those communities, they meeting up because their patriarchy is even higher, and they are having they are not chilling with all together. They are
Yeah.
separated by man and woman, and then you
Yeah.
can see like a group of 10 men
Yeah.
walking around, and this
Yeah.
is why the Portuguese people feeling threatened, because it's not normalized for them, because the
Yeah.
Portuguese men don't do that.
Yeah.
But in Lisbon, I saw also starting that Portuguese men are starting to being crowded in men groups, and this threatening me in the same way.
Yeah.
And this is what is happening at the moment, that we
Yeah.
don't. But the only thing, it's the other thing, when the white men doing that, we don't see it that often. But with them, they're doing it every day, and that's why it feels more threatening. But and
You see a
this,
lot now with football. A lot of white men walking around pubs with beers in England as groups.
yeah, and this, to be honest, every man group is for me is threatening. So heterosexual, I think it's queer, and yes. Don't do that. If you are a group of men, separate. Go to you can go 2 by 2, and I don't know, and then you're meeting in another place. But to being in a group, or and being like I don't know, or making this, no, don't do that. So it's, but
Definitely don't do that. I'll be like, cringe.
so, but I mean, it's at least to have a conversation
Yes.
with us and understand what is fearful and what we can debunk, because we don't need to do that. It's that we need to try to come together. So and this is the and this is why I created it also, because this is the safest space that we are actually can talking about those kind of things and being safe. And now we're also coming to our last question. What do you like to give away for the people watching this episode?
I think for the people watching this, if they can understand me, because they're all probably in Germany and like this crazy woman from the UK, is just to step out the opinions, step out of the preconceived thoughts, and to try something different, try something new. You never know what you're going to learn by just, I always believe, just sit with somebody for 10 minutes and listen to their story, and it will shock you. It will shock you. And also to just know who you are, and don't let that be determined by other people's opinions and thoughts. Someone could, in life, someone's always going to feel you're too fat, or you're too thin, or you're too something, or you shouldn't be like this, or you shouldn't live life to what you want your standards to be, but live life good. Yeah?
Good.
So not standards of grooming children, or no, that's not a good standard, or a good standard, And if you feel that you can't step out of your opinions, then mind your damn business. If your thought is going to be, this is all black people, keep it in your thoughts and don't let it spill out into your actions. It's very cliche when we're saying things like we all bleed the same, we all feel the same, but these are honest and truth, and nobody ever knows anybody's journey. The field I work in, journeys are so different, and you can see if that person had a good person in their life at this point or at that point, their life would be so different. So I think it's just about keep on trying to do the good thing every day and step out of the opinions and sometimes the fear, and really educate yourself educate yourself, read, understand, listen,
Yes.
get your own education. Don't just always go along with the opinions. I'm not saying I've never done that, but I've had to step out of my opinions. I will tell you, when I was younger, I would never in a million years think I would ever date a white man or be with a white man. And here I am, because sometimes we've got to step outside the opinions and thoughts. And it's nothing to do with what you want. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. But as well, don't infringe on other people doing it. Don't, educate yourself, just
Yes.
have that education and not always following along.
But here also it's the last thing is like to put it in short words. Yeah,
Mhm.
go out of your comfort
Yeah.
zone and being and trying to just have good moral standard. That's
Yes.
all.
Thank
And
you for thank you for minimizing that, because I went on forever. Yes, in a nutshell, yes, very much so, very much so. I
welcome.
think we live one life, live it well.
Exactly.
Live it with as much
Period.
love as you can.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you very much, Char, for joining this podcast. I was pleased to have you here. It was amazing, and I really loved every minute of this episode. And I hope you outside of this community here listen to this beautiful soul I just interviewed. And always what I say in the end: make your hot chocolate, a hot coffee, or a tea. Of course, depending when you are watching this episode, if it's the evening, the morning, or the afternoon. And we see each other in the next episode. And I wish you a good day. See you and bye bye.